Hello everyone, happy Monday. Welcome to Durrett's Take. We had a very eventful week and let's get right to it. So the NBA playoffs has been pretty interesting to watch so far. I mean, I've been surprised that a lot of the games have been kind of blowouts so far, but at least we gotten a few close games here and there. They've been pretty fun to see. So let's get started. I want to go over and share away my one sentence takeaway for each of the games in the series. So let's start off with the Blazers and Lasers. The Blazers and Lakers. Sorry, it's Monday morning. So to summarize that series, I would say Blazers running out of gas? Question mark. You said that when AD plays at his best, and the combination of Lakers already having a good defense, the Blazers just can't compete with that, because they don't play good defense. So what I saw in the fourth quarter on Saturday night was LeBron and AD especially stepping up and elevating their play, while the Blazers did not make a single three-pointer in the fourth quarter. I feel the Lakers are good. I feel like the Lakers at this point are going to win the rest of their games. It was nice to see the Blazers win one. It was a fun ride in the bubble, but I feel like their time's running out. Next one, Clippers versus Mavs. Love to sleepwalk? Question mark. Man, you can tell when the Clippers are trying and not trying. There's a big difference. When they are not trying, or sleepwalking, if you will, through the game, the Mavs do well. When they actually try, not so much. With Kristaps Porzingis out for Game 4, they gave up 135 points and lost the game. I still think they'll win the series, but if Mavs force a Game 7, I would be worried if I were a Clipper fan. Okay, Nuggets versus Jazz. Defense wins championships. Now, I'm not saying that either of these teams will win a championship this year, but man, can the Nuggets play any defense whatsoever? They're lucky to not have been swept because they should have lost Game 1 if it wasn't for Donovan Mitchell's mental error there. But even though they made Game 4 close, which was good to see, they just haven't been playing any defense. Jazz are scoring at will. Donovan Mitchell scoring 50 plus in 2 of their four games. So it's just not the Nuggets' year this year. But they're still too young, in my opinion. So we'll kind of see where they kind of go from here. But whoever wins the Clippers and Mavs series, which I still think of the Clippers. I mean, I thought the Clippers would. I thought this would be an easy matchup for the Clippers, but maybe not so much. Maybe the semifinals will be just as interesting. Okay, Rockets versus Thunder. Enjoy your rest, Russell Westbrook. I have been saying this for a long time until the Westbrook injury, but the Thunder are not built for the playoffs. They were a regular season team that was good, and once again, I was proven right. It's kind of like the Pacers. Pacers are a very good regular season team, but when it comes to the playoffs, they just can't seem to get out of the first round type of thing. They just don't have much success. If it wasn't for House missing a free throw in regulation to put them up by 1, Houston would be up 3-0 in the series and most likely have swept. So even though the Thunder got the win yesterday, I still think that Houston's going to win the rest of their games in the series. So Westbrook needs to enjoy his rest because facing the Lakers next round is going to be very difficult. Okay, Bucks versus Magic. Who's the second star? Once again, Chris Middleton's not showing up for the playoffs, and I don't think a Brook Lopez or George Hill can be that, or Wes Matthews can be that second banana, if you will. Maybe they're at best. So that leaves Eric Bledsoe, the point guard, as the best candidate. But honestly, I feel like that probably won't happen. Now, Milwaukee's going to, even though they had the surprise in Game 1, it looks like they're taking care of business. So even though it won't affect them much this series, it's going to affect them this series if they can't figure out who their second star is. And they need to figure out soon because their franchise may depend on it. Raptors versus Nets. Snooze fest. I knew the Raptors would dominate the series, and they end up sweeping the Nets. Now, the Kyle Lowry injury in Game 4 does concern me, though, because without him, there's no way they're beating the Celtics, so hopefully it's not too serious of an injury. Celtics versus 76ers. Expect change in the offseason. That could be whether it's change in trading Embiid, whether change in trading Simmons, whether getting rid of the coach, whether 2 of the 3 or all 3. There should just be change in general next year. That's going to be automatic at this point. It's just a matter of what's going to change. And lastly, Pacers versus Heat. Jimmy Butler playoff mode is activated. Besides the three-point shooting in Miami, Butler's been playing like his usual playoff self where he elevates not only himself but his team members to success. And it's no surprise that I mean, it's no surprise for me personally that the Heat looks like they're about to sweep the Pacers, but because originally I thought this could go 6 games, but man, the Heat are just so dominant, and it makes me worried that um, my Bucks going to the Eastern Conference Finals may be wrong because Miami may beat them in the semifinals alone. So those are my takeaways from the playoffs this week, and then beginning next week I'll go ahead and give another round of takeaways. So moving on, I want to talk about the NBA draft lottery real quick that happened the other night. Because I do have a few opinions and comments on the results from the lottery. So to kind of recap, in order from 1 to 14, Minnesota got the number 1 pick, Golden State 2nd, Charlotte 3rd, Chicago 4th, Cleveland 5th, Atlanta 6th, Detroit 7, New York 8, Washington 9, Phoenix 10, San Antonio 11, Sacramento 12, 13 New Orleans, and 14 Boston because of a trade deal. So it's not going to be Memphis' pick; it's going to be Boston's pick. So here are my reactions from the lottery. My first thought is once again, the Knicks got screwed. They had the 6th best odds to get the number 1 pick. So I thought, well, if they don't get lucky and rise up even further, then the worst case scenario is they'll get the pick at the 6th spot, which you can still maybe get something there. But no, they had to fall back to 8. And I feel like after the top 7, I feel like the players are kind of, don't really know them well. Some of them are foreign players. I'm just not sure about them. There's not as much potential stars as there is in the top 5 or 6 type of thing. So my prediction is they're going to get a foreign player, probably, but just because, especially this year, I mean, you're not getting a lot of look at college players anyways because of coronavirus stuff like that. This may be the year to draft a foreign player, and hopefully it works, and hopefully he becomes the next Porzingis or something. Hopefully he does pretty good for the Knicks, but yeah, once again the Knicks got screwed, but it shouldn't come as a surprise because he always gets screwed these days. Another thought is Cleveland kind of got screwed as well. So Cleveland was in that triple tie for the best odds to get the number 1 pick. And they need it because LeBron's not there, Cleveland sucks in general, you're not going to get free agents there, the list goes on and on. So they could have really used the number 1 pick, or at least 2nd or 3rd, just stay in the top 3 in general. But they fall to number 5. So now the only hope is that someone falls down to where they could snatch them up type of thing. So maybe, for example, I don't think the other teams above them need a point guard. Maybe some LaMelo Ball falls down to them, and that could potentially be a game changer or something. At least he'll be box office starting off, but maybe that's something there. And then another thought is, I thought Charlotte was a huge winner in this because I thought they were going to be either 7th pick or 8th pick because that was what they were projected to be based off their percent chance of winning the lottery. But they jumped all the way to 3rd. So instead of just getting someone, now they can get like a Wiseman from Memphis or a Toppin for Dayton or something and get a ready now player. Because Charlotte was kind of a good young team. So now it wouldn't surprise me if like Charlotte can maybe get that 8th seed spot next year in the East or something like that instead of Orlando or Atlanta or whatever. So, and then one more comment. So what's interesting about this draft in general is that there's no bona fide like number 1 pick that like there was last year with Zion Williamson. So this will make the draft a little more fun to watch and more interesting in October. So real quick, the news came out yesterday that safety Earl Thomas got released from Baltimore due to practice altercation with a player. And rumor is that Dallas is the favorite to land him. But the question is he worth it? My answer to it is, well, it depends. Does Dallas have to pay him like a top 5 safety? If yes, then he's definitely not worth it in my opinion. Because with his temper issues and the fact that this play is going to be a little bit decreasing because he's starting to get a little bit up there, and as far as age goes, he shouldn't be paid like a top 5 safety. Now, and plus Dallas is already cap strong as this. So it wouldn't surprise me if this becomes like AB situation. So you pay him 1 year, make sure he acts correctly, and then you give him a reasonable price. So if the Cowboys can get that reasonable price for him, then Thomas is actually worth it for the Cowboys. Because even if he has a temper issue or something like that, the Cowboys secondary is so young and depleted and just not that good in general. And with all the offenses in the NFC, you need a good secondary, so they could really use Thomas' services. So that's why I would say, depending on the price, I feel like I would go on Earl Thomas if I am the Cowboys. So last but not least, I like to look at some preseason polls for college football, and I found one from Sporting News article. And well, so I'm going to say the top 4. So they have Clemson number 1, makes sense. They have Alabama number 2, makes sense. They have Georgia number 3, makes sense. And then they have the defending champions LSU 4. So 3 SEC teams in the top 4. No Oklahoma, no Texas, no Notre Dame, or a G5 representative like Cincinnati or anything like that. 3 SEC teams. With Big Ten and the Pac-12 out, should the playoffs have 3 SEC teams in it? Because this would be the year for it. I have a short answer and a long answer for that. My short answer is if they are truly the 4 best teams, then yes, I'm fine with that. If there's a debate for that 4th spot, then I would say no for multiple reasons. Number 1, if we have 3 SEC teams, that means we're most likely going to be watching a lot of rematches because whoever doesn't face Clemson, then the other 2 SEC teams who play each other in the semifinals might have already played in the regular season. For example, let's say it was like an Alabama-Georgia in the semifinals. And then, if, let's say, Clemson gets upset in the semifinals and the other SEC team goes to the championship game along with the other one, then that's probably going to be a rematch. So I don't want to see, even if the rematch is good, I don't really like to see rematches. I like to see something new, basically. Sorry, I think I had a technology malfunction there. But as I was saying, so from going on to my second reason, as far as why I feel like there shouldn't be 3 SEC teams in the playoffs, is because with this being an unusual year, if a Group of 5 team is deserving, like UCF was a few years ago, to be in the playoffs, then they should be rewarded this year with a playoff try. If it doesn't go well, then they can remain out of the playoff discussion. If it does go well, then shock, maybe even an upset, then more Group of 5 schools can be in contention, and it could bring more drama to the playoffs every year. And that's what I like, is chaos. So for the final reason, I feel like the winner of a P5 conference, so in this case, the Big 12 should automatically get in. Now, if they have 3 or 4 losses, then my argument's not as valid, but if there's like a 2-loss champion instead of a 1-loss champion, I feel like they're deserving of a conference spot over a 2-loss SEC team, or even a 1-loss SEC team who didn't win the conference, in my opinion, because it's tough to win a Power 5 conference, be a champion of it. So that's why I feel like that wouldn't work out either. So that's why I feel like, again, if the 3 SEC teams are the best and they deserve to be in, then fine. But it's like I feel like 2 is the maximum you want to have. So it'll be interesting to see what the playoff committee does, or if we get, or even if we get to that point of the season. But if we do get to that point, then hope they make the right decision. So thank you very much for listening to my show today. Please subscribe and tell everyone about me. Please leave comments of what you'd like me to talk about in the future. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful day.